Howdy folks. As promised, I thought I'd show you another video. I'm going to make a quick and simple foot switch that's going to select the channels of that Marshall JCM 900 I just repaired, which you can see and watch me repair, learn about the circuit and see what the hell is going on with that amplifier and my education. It's right up here. Clickety click. Anyway, we're going to make the foot switch to change channels. So I've got myself one of these little tiny Hammond enclosures. Now this is a pretty heavy duty one. It's not only quite solid, but it's also water resistant and all that sort of stuff. We're not going to bother with any of that because if you're playing in the rain, chances are your amp's probably going to blow up anyway. So let's forget about that idea. First thing I'm going to do is find the center of this, because that's where the foot switch is going to go. And I'm going to see if I can put a little LED at the top here. Probably on the inside, it'll be right at the top there, just to let the player know that the amp is on overdrive. Nice little touch. The amp has power going through the switching circuit, enough to turn an LED on and off, and that's all we need to do. So let's find the center of this and hole punch it, and then hole punch somewhere at the top in the middle between these two lugs where our LED is going to go. We're going to drill these both out to the correct size. The way I'm going to do it, I'm going to use one of these low profile switches, and by low profile I mean this bit right here. Because if we use a normal foot switch, look at the difference in height. Let me see if we can have a look here. Let me line up the bodies. Because these lugs are here, that adds an extra amount of height to the foot switch, and it will not fit in the enclosure. So we're going to go with something more low profile, like this one right here. And you know what, it's just doing foot switching work, so we don't even need that many lugs. There's no point in having one of these ones that has 9 lugs on it. You know, the what is it, dual throw triple pole. We'll save that for pedals and things like that. Alternatively, we could probably use one of these as well, although I think this foot switch is rooted. We can check that though. Alright folks, so I found the center of this now. What I'm going to do is start a small hole and drill this out, and then we're going to put in I think a 12 or 13 mil diameter hole, and I'll show you what we're going to use for that. Don't use a drill bit because it'll chew it out. I'll show you, we're going to use a stepper bit, okay? So let me get this hole started and then I'll show you what comes next. Alright, so I started the hole with a 4 or 5 mil drill bit, nice and small. Get it through, get it as a pilot hole. That way it's guaranteed to be center, it's going to stay round, it's not going to screw up or fly across the room, it's not going to chew things out. And then I went to a bigger drill bit, I went to a 7 mil drill bit, and now I'm going to use this stepper bit. And I'm going to go 10 mil, which it's going to you know, build up to. And then it's going to step down to the 12 mil bit, and I'm going to stop when it gets to the 12 mil bit, because then I'm going to throw the foot switch in and measure it and make sure that it's going to fit in. And if it doesn't, that's okay, because then we got our 14 mil bit that goes down to the next one. And we have to make room for the thread too, because we don't want to screw it into this. We want it to safely and nicely go in without it rubbing or cross-threading or anything, and then we're going to put the nut on top and fix that up. So let's do that next. Alright, good news, 12 mil fits in perfectly, and it's nice and loose enough that it's not going to bind against the thread and screw that up. Alrighty, next I've placed a nice yellow 3 mil LED inside this little LED mount. I use these ones because A, they're steel, B, the LED is recessed. Don't know if you can see that. Let's try to zoom in, there we go. It's recessed in there, so you're not going to knock it. And it's also steel, and it screws in and it mounts the LED nice and securely where we are expecting to go. So I'm going to do that next. Then we're going to wire all of this together, and then that's it. We're done. Alrighty, it's getting quite late and dark, and I'm going to call it quits for the night, but basically this is done. So I've got the lead coming in. Now I've decided to go with a solid lead, not a plug on the end, because that way the foot switch will be less likely to get lost. And so what I've done is you can just see I've got one side coming in, there's ground and there's hot, and then I've got these jumpers that I've soldered over to this side so I can wire the LED in, and I've got a dropping resistor on one side. This is a 570 ohm resistor, and I've soldered it, as well as I kind of like wrapped it in with the wires with each other with the jumper, and same as this side, and I've soldered it together. And then I've got the other side here. This is the positive side, this is the negative. It doesn't matter which side you put the dropping resistor on, as long as you've got one there and it's the correct value. Now these are pretty tough. I mean, I can move this thing just by touching the wire. They're not going to ever short out or touch each other. And even if they do, worst case scenario, it just means the LED is going to turn on or something dumb. There's nothing really critical in here. So I'm going to spin this over, screw it all together, and then test it out on the amplifier. So let's have a look at that. Here we have it, folks, the finished product. I'm probably just going to scribble some stuff on here with permanent marker, you know, gain channel, or you know, JCM 900 foot switch, something or other, blah blah blah. I don't know. I'll let the customer decide. Like I said, I wanted the wire coming out of this. Now I did on the inside. There's some relief, and the inside and outside edge of this hole has been chamfered, so it's not going to cut through the wire. And like I said, even if it does, even if something happens, it's not going to be an issue. Anyway, so here's the foot switch. Now, channel is on the clean channel right now, and if I turn the volume up on the clean channel, you'll hear. So I don't know if you can hear this, but I'll do it again. Hang on, let's turn the gain up. So that's the clean master channel, and this is the B. Sorry. So that was the clean channel, channel A, and channel B. You can hear nothing is happening until I. And you can see there the light turns on, the LED turns on when the channel switches. And when I turn the gain up and down, and this side isn't affected. See that? So, huzzah! So, foot switch for the client, nice and small, with LED power as well, so that way the client will know that, hey, that's on the drive channel. I mean, they can probably hear it anyway, but it's nice having an LED there. And I decided to go with orange instead of red because it just looks a bit cool. So anyway, funny enough, coming out on the camera, it looks really bright, but in real life, it really isn't that bright at all. So anyway, guys, and notice, sorry, when you've plugged the foot switch in, going A or B channel here, it defeats the internal switching. So, you know, it doesn't matter what you do here. If you've got the foot switch plugged in, it's all controlled by this. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This has been a short little video on how to make a foot switch for your Marshall JCM 900. The customer didn't give a crap about the reverb, so it's just a single foot switch, small amount of real estate on their pedal board, which is why I went with an enclosure like this. You can, if you like, add a 1/4 inch socket here as well. That's up to you. I've decided against that. Opinions, blah blah blah. Put it in the comments below.